Hello, beautiful bookish family. Welcome back to Coffee Over Apples. My name is Steph. This is a recent reads manga wrap-up, all of the manga that I read in the past couple months. Kind of like a quarterly wrap-up, pretty much. It is going to include both manga and graphic novels. I'm really excited to talk about this to you because I had a great time reading manga in the end of 2021. It was so much fun and I cannot wait to share that with you.
It could change the world.
I'm so hyped to share with you all of my favorite manga that I pretty much read in the end of the year. So let's get started. Let's talk about the graphic novels first. I read volumes 1 and 2 of Saga. I can't find volume 2 right now. It's somewhere in my house, but I loved it. It was so good. This was very adult. It was a little bit more sexy than I thought it was going to be. But I highly suggest this if you're looking for a science fiction graphic novel that reads very quickly. It's very Romeo and Juliet-esque. I also fell in love with all of the side characters. The artwork in here is absolutely stunning. Two planets, two wars, a planet and a moon that are fighting against each other and have been doing so for centuries. One is a more technologically advanced culture and one is, I guess, not so. The difference, one being that they have horns and the other has wings, but these two have a child together and the child is a forbidden love child that could potentially bring the future of these two planets together or not. I know that we've seen that premise done over and over again, but it was done really well here and I highly suggest this book. Just keep in mind it does get very graphic if you do decide to pick this up. I believe that is there 5 volumes of this? I know that the authors went on hiatus for a while and that they're supposed to be coming back pretty recently or in the near future this year, I think, with volume 6 or whatever the next installment is. I will keep collecting these. I hope to get volume 3 and 4 this year so that I can continue the series, but it is just beautifully rendered, great use of white space. Look at these hands! Stunning! Even if I don't know that I can say much about the story because the plot is fairly simple, the character design is impeccable. On the other side, with that being really dark, this was really light and really sweet. This is Cheese Sweet Home. It is an omnibus, so it does have volumes 1 to 3 in here. This is a bunch of short stories. This kitty is this tiny little bean who gets adopted by a family because is like a little duckling that gets separated from the mama, and this little boy and his family find the kitty and take in the kitty, but they're not supposed to have kitties in their apartment complex. So the kitty gets in lots of trouble and the family is in the background of the main story, which is they're trying to figure out how they can keep this cat or if they should move or what should they do because they fell in love with her. And she is just exploring the world as kittens do, saying, "Ooh, look at that bird and what does this thing do?" and just so cute and wholesome. I cannot wait to watch the anime for this. I also have the next 3 omnibuses. I have the entire collection and I cannot wait to continue. I took a serious leap of faith with buying the entire collection at once and I have no regrets because it's so sweet and it's so wholesome. If I'm ever feeling down and I need a pick-me-up, I will be picking up Cheese Sweet Home. Next, we have Komi Can't Communicate. I read volumes 1, 2, 3, and I thought it was so sweet. I gave all of these volumes, I think, did I give them all 4 stars? Yeah, I think I gave them all 4 stars. Komi Can't Communicate is basically a high school story about a girl who doesn't speak. Komi hasn't fully developed social skills and has anxiety, is not a social butterfly by any means, and something more than an introvert. I don't know yet whether it's been fully disclosed or if it will be disclosed that she has a disability. However, What's happened to her is that she is super quiet but also very beautiful, and people assume that she's being quiet because she's overconfident, but really she's being quiet because she's shy and she's scared and doesn't know how to make friends. One day she meets this young boy in her class who kind of just gets her, and he's a little bit more outgoing than she is, even though he's also an introvert. And he decides to help her reach her personal goal of making 100 friends. And it's just so sweet. I love it so much. It was so wholesome seeing her thrive and grow slowly. We have some really extreme characters here. A lot of people projecting ideas onto poor Komi, but she's just a very simple, happy teenage girl who wants to live a really normal teenage life and just have a bunch of friends to go to like the amusement park with. It's just so sweet. So I think there is an anime for this on Netflix as well that I will be checking out. Speaking of animes on Netflix, I recently read and watched the first 3 volumes of Blue Period. This all got 5 stars from me. I'm actually making my students watch it for homework because it's so good. Blue Period is my biased but an art story about a young boy in high school who is kind of just this kid who's really good at everything. He is really smart, he's got great study skills, he's just like a good student, but not exactly a great person. He hangs out with this group of jocks who don't take things seriously and are just normal knuckleheads. He is mean in the beginning to one of our other main characters, who I love. Yuka is everything. We see Yuka going through and being accepted by their family about their identity, but we're following Yatora, I think is his name, is our main character. So basically he is with his jock friends, has to take art as an elective in order to graduate high school. His art teacher, I love her. I love her so much. I love all the teachers in here. They're so positive, and basically this is a comic book about my job. Like, this is a comic book about what I do for a living, and I love it. It's just incredible, and if you are an art kid, you have to read this manga. It's so good. But Yatora ends up accidentally stumbling upon the art club and sees that this is not something that he can just study his way into, that it's a lot deeper than that. Decides that he's going to go to art college and what that means for him. So good. I highly recommend it. After that, I read Kakushigoto, My Dad's Secret Ambition, Volume 1, and I gave this 4 stars. A hilarious story about a dad, a single dad, and his little daughter. He draws hentai ecchi, which is like adult themed manga, and he's pretty famous for it, but his little daughter, I think, is in like kindergarten or 1st grade or something like that. She loves her dad and she wants to show her dad off to the world, but he's hiding it from her, what he does for a living, so that she doesn't think that he's a pervert. And it's just so funny. It's so funny. I love this manga so much. There is a TV show for it, which is how I got into the manga, by watching an episode of the show first. I do think that I will continue with all of these manga that I've mentioned so far. They are just so wholesome. So we're seeing all these adventures, like bring your parent to school day and the dad floundering to figure out what he's going to do so he doesn't show up, because technically the teacher of the 1st graders is a super fan of the dad. So she loves him, but she's also helping him keep the secret from all the little kids of who he actually is, because his merchandise is all over the place. It is so funny. Tokyo Ghoul Illustrated Edition. I read this because one of the challenges in my challenge jar challenged me to read a book backwards by chapter. This is an art book. This book is not exactly, I think, meant for reading, because if you're looking for some super secret insights as to how the artist functions, or any backstories or anything on Tokyo Ghoul, I don't think that this is it. This is actually more of a coffee table art book. So something that has beautiful illustrated pages. We're seeing some sketches of stuff, of like the initial sketches of the layout of some of the manga, and then also some illustrations of like Uta's tattoos, who's one of my favorite characters, or illustrations that just didn't make it into some of the cover art, which is fine. It's beautiful to look at, but reading wise is kind of boring because the author really doesn't say much. So I would say that if you're a super fan of Tokyo Ghoul, like I really love Tokyo Ghoul season 1, I really love this and enjoy it, so it'll be more of a treasure and something that you just pick up to look at the pretty pictures now and then. Also, I read volumes 1 to 3 of Spy Family. Spy Family has my whole heart. I love this manga so much. It was so funny and I'm definitely continuing it. He's a spy, she's an assassin, the little girl is just trying to get her parents together because she was an orphan who got adopted by the spy to fulfill a mission, but she can read minds, so she knows that he's a spy and she thinks spies are really cool. She knows that her adopted mom is an assassin and she thinks assassins are really cool. She's like, wow, my parents are superheroes. I love them. We could be a super family. And the parents have no idea what each other's identity is. Only the little girl knows. And they're trying to get her into this really prestigious school to help fulfill the spy's mission in order to prevent a war. It is just the funniest thing, the most wholesome thing, and I love it. Such a sweet and wholesome manga. Okay, if you don't know my taste, I think it's pretty obvious. When it comes to books, when it comes to actual novels, I love things that are dark and horror and erotic and scary and gory and whatever. But when it comes to manga, give me a slice of life comedy. Give me a fantasy, give me just comedy and wholesomeness. This is how I balance out my reading. Love and everything else is just... I feel like I'm living the best life. It's so good. If you've read any of these mangas, please let me know in the chat below, or if you're going to pick up any of these. I hope that you're interested in them because I had a really good time reading manga this quarter. This was one of the best quarters that I've ever had reading manga, and I hope that next quarter is equally as good. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I post videos every week. I'll see you later. Bye!
What's it making, Mr. Wonka? Mr. Wonka worked the factory.